Hello, my name is Ernesto Garcia, and thank you for tuning in to Mesilla Valley News. Let's talk Las Cruces. Now in extended forms of social media, podcast, and on the air. So let's see if I can break this down best I can, and then I'll get to our sponsor. Then we'll welcome Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, who's our guest. This segment is being watched live on Facebook, like it's always been on the Mesilla Valley News Facebook fan page. Also, the Mesilla Valley News Twitter handle at Mesilla Valley MVN News LC. Also, my personal Twitter live and our YouTube channel as well, too. So you can make comments on those if possible, and I'll read them through. The best comments section will probably be on Facebook. As always, we'll take that as our guest. Then the segment airs live on Sunday mornings on all of our Adams Radio Group stations. You can find a local time when you tune in on Sunday mornings on any of the stations live. And then, of course, we have a podcast form that you can go to any of our websites to download. So multiple places to hear our interviews, and we've expanded those. So therefore, you can keep up to date on what's going on with Las Cruces and our town. That's why we get to talk about Let's Talk Las Cruces. And of course, all these segments, everything we're at, is brought to you by our friends over at American Document Services. ADSLCNM.com, 300A North 17th Street in Las Cruces. Call 575-647-0060. There is the website. You'll see all the services that you need. And as you're coming up to the new year, save time, save money, preserve resources, whether it's scanning, storing, or shredding. You can have it all taken care of over at American Document Services. Our guest this week is Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima. Can't believe it already, Mayor. We're going to say goodbye to 2021, look ahead to 2022. And one thing is for certain, if we look back at this year, the pandemic, the big headlines, and still making headlines today, what are you aware of on what's going on with the state, federal government, and what is the city keeping an eye on as we look ahead to 2022?
Well, good morning or good afternoon, Ernesto. It is pretty amazing that we're already in December 1st. The year has flown. It was been a very challenging 2021. Everybody just went to get back to work and do all the things that they put off in 2020, and they did it all at the same time. We're just watching the Omicron variant and what effects it may have, and just being very vigilant about that. So far, we're okay, but nonetheless, we're concerned with the increase in the hospital beds, because obviously we want to make sure that if somebody needs to go to the hospital for other than COVID-related experiences, that they have a place to go. And so that's the biggest concern right now. So just keep our eyes and ears to the different hospitals, the two hospitals here in town, primarily treat the patients, and hopefully that they'll be doing what they need to do to keep beds available.
All right. Speaking of Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, let's talk more about what is going on in the city. Recently, the local Chamber of Commerce put up together a forum talking about the projects that are going on for aerospace with Virgin Galactic and also the Las Cruces International Airport. It came to a lot of people's surprise that the committee for the folks that are working at the airport are strongly looking at regional flights or regional airlines to fly to two top destinations, which would be Dallas and Phoenix. How realistic do you think that could happen in 2022, that we'll have regional commercial service coming in and obviously needing to expand more roadways if another Virgin Galactic launch is to happen and Richard Branson brings all his friends over?
Yeah. So I think it can happen. I think it will happen in 2022, Ernesto. So the city manager, Ifo Pili and I met with the garrison commander from Fort Bliss. And as you may or may not be aware, I'm sure you are aware of, that Fort Bliss is probably the largest Army installation this side of the Mississippi. Probably, sorry about that. That's my reminder that you're going to be sending me the link for training. And so one of the things that the garrison commander told us was that as large as El Paso International Airport is, they still have a challenge bringing flights over. And so we told them that we could accommodate those additional flights here in Las Cruces International Airport. So with that said, probably one of the, I like either location, Phoenix or Dallas. but it probably realistically may be Dallas, because a lot of the flights are going to be coming in from the east part of the country. And so what I'm trying to get at is, if we can show the airlines that we have X amount more of business that they can have, I think they'll be more amenable to flying in and out of Las Cruces International Airport.
Well, just even private alone, it looked like a big taxi service. Nobody really saw pictures of what it looks like when we saw when Richard Branson went up into space, and how there was almost no room to park a plane. And I know the city is looking at doing that part. How far do you feel it'll be before we can increase more airway taxi space at the airport?
Well, one of the things that we're going to be discussing probably on Monday is, well, we're not going to use the ARPA money for that, but one of the things that we're asking the legislature is to provide us some additional funding to expand the airport, because we know that that's really what it's all about, is travel, being able to get from point A to point B. And by having a enhanced airport is going to be something that we're going to need to have. So I think it's going to be okay, Ernesto. I think we're going to start seeing some commercial flights in 2022.
Right. Speaking with Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, we're talking on Let's Talk Las Cruces. If you have a question for the mayor, we ask that you put it in a question form on our social media platform on Facebook. For those of you that are listening on radio or other audio forms, you can email me at egarcia@arglc.com, and I'll bring it up the next time I get a chance to speak with the mayor. I want to talk about the state legislature. It is coming up. There's a lot of money that could be distributed to a lot of places. What is the city of Las Cruces looking to do to convince the state legislature that more money needs to be brought down into this area?
Well, we've identified 10 projects that we hope to get funded, and they're primarily related to public safety, infrastructure, utilities, things of that nature. And then one large project is the airport, the expansion of the Las Cruces International Airport, because we again recognize that people need to be able to get here from point A to point B, and that's why we want to focus on that as well. So we're pretty confident. Yeah, it's probably going to be the most money that the legislature has ever had, and so we may want to even look at a second bigger project. But right now we don't want to be greedy. We just want some additional funding for infrastructure and public safety, as well as the airport.
You mentioned public safety, Mayor. I need to ask, what specifically in public safety are we needing more of? I know you have been asking to be more competitive, to bring more officers in. I know you've also said in the past that you have thought that anything that we could put the pay structure up to make it work that way to get more people to protect. Is that what the money is most primarily used for? Or is there other things that you would like to see be used?
Yeah, unfortunately, monies from the legislature can't be used to fund ongoing concerns such as payroll, personnel, things of that nature. No, we were looking at more bricks and mortar, whether it's a training facility, equipment. Believe it or not, the city and the county and state police, they all have to operate on different radios, and they can't communicate with one another unless sometimes they have to do it through their cell phone. And so that's basically what the money would be for, Ernesto, to enhance public safety's ability to communicate with one another, as well as some potential training facilities.
All right. Speaking of Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima, residents in this town are going to notice something different on January 1st with a lot of laws that are coming into place. One of them will be when they go shopping, and don't be surprised if you're bringing your own bag to shop. Is that correct, Mayor?
Right. So the plastic bag is the one that you see. Really, you can just drive by a lot of the areas, and you see them against the fence, and then trees sticking up everywhere. Those are the ones that we're really targeting, and those are the ones that we're targeting there in the grocery stores. So I've had a lot of people reach out that they want to provide those canvas bags. That there may be some advertising on it, but it's free. You don't have to worry about it, and take as many as you want, and hopefully you bring it back to reuse.
So how's that going to work if somebody goes to Walmart and buys groceries and they got to carry all those bags? What is going to happen now?
I think these bags will be easier to carry, for one, and they won't rip, and two, they might be able to hold a little bit more, especially if you're strong enough to hold a little bit more. I guess I'm not sure about your question, Ernesto. They'll be able to provide. They may, for all I know, Walmart probably has bags themselves. They'll probably give those away. I mean, with I can imagine it right now. It's probably going to be blue with a little gold sunburst on it.
All right.
Walmart.
No,
Yeah,
no,
and
that's
then
just
yeah, and they'll just hand them out. And like I said, there's other businesses who want to do that as well. I mean, they're literally really want to do this because it gets their name out. Imagine if you had Ernesto Garcia, you know,
uh,
MV Mesilla Valley News, and have your email all over the city. Wouldn't you like to see
uh,
that? Especially if your
no,
picture on there.
no,
Well,
no,
okay,
no,
yeah,
Mayor, no, no, that's
okay,
fine. I'll pass on that. Speaking of
absolutely.
Las Cruces, Mayor, you can do it for your business and for your campaigning down the road if you choose, but I don't think I need that.
Okay.
But speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagishima, let's talk about an important project that got done on University and I-25. The project is completed. They're doing ribbon cutting ceremonies as we speak. This should help out with generating traffic in the area. And have you seen improvements in traffic? And just an example, you went to a basketball game last night. People had to leave early because of a power outage. How did traffic go going in and out?
I've used it a couple times. Last night I had a guest that we took. He lives on the opposite side, so we went through Stern. But coming in, it's great. I want to congratulate Moles and Corbin, who are the engineers on that, as well as the state of New Mexico for doing such a great job. I think it just works out really well. Flows really well. Looks great too, especially at night as you're driving by the overpass.
And I want to talk, Mayor, a little bit also about some of the other projects that are done, Go bonds that went through. How are we doing on the fire station on Valley, and what's the progress there?
Right now, all of our projects are at or above or ahead of schedule. And so that one was the one that we started the latest. They're the fire station on Valley. I think it's station 3, but it's coming along pretty good, Ernesto. I think we're right on schedule for its completion in 2022.
A lot of people are looking forward to it. And also, you see a lot more walking paths, and those have turned out pretty well. Your thoughts of what they look like on the west side of town around the stadiums in that area?
They've worked out pretty well. One thing that we probably didn't account for was some nuisance, meaning some, various people kind of go to some of the businesses in the area just down the road from it and kind of do things that they shouldn't be doing. So that's about one of the drawbacks that we need to take a look at in the future, and even now as to how we can help prevent that, because it's not fair for those businesses. They didn't do anything. They just, all of a sudden, we were able to put this walking path in the vicinity, and next thing you got people um, walking by and maybe see something they like and try to take it. And we just have to just be a little bit more vigilant and figure out a way to protect that as well.
Do you think you would put in some lighting projects that might help with that, or the city might increase some LED lights in those areas to help with those?
Lighting and possibly if they want to provide some cameras that the city can view as well. Whatever we can do, we have to strike that balance between public safety and the privacy. But I mean, if a business owner wishes to share their location for a camera, why not?
All right. Speaking of Las Cruces, Mayor Ken Miyagishima, let's talk about another project on the west side of town that has done really well, the completion of Toshiro Boulevard. As you got lighting in that area and stuff, don't worry, I'm not forgetting that I get to call in a steak dinner. Don't
Yeah,
know if you're
there you go.
making it or cooking it or where you're buying it from, but either way, I'll get that before the end of the year. But
And
obviously
I'm going to
that
grill right here right outside.
there you go. That's fine. But Mayor, obviously you're very pleased with how this project is coming. How's that helping out with traffic? And are you seeing any indication that this is moving things along in that area?
Very pleased with it. Received some emails and some thanks from people. I don't think I saw one from you, but for the most part, they were all very positive. I'm really
No,
happy
it would
to.
have been a picture to you and Mandy talking about, remember when you both said the date was going to be? No, Mandy
Yeah,
never did that. You did that, but she didn't.
I
So
did. Are you serious?
I have it on video when you said you would have it before the Cruces Mayfield game. So
Okay.
that it would be completed before that time. So And it
Sorry
wasn't,
about
but yeah, no, we'll go through there. Speaking of Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima talking about what's going on in the city of Las Cruces, I want to go ahead and okay, that wasn't a question, but you can leave your comments. That's fine. If you have a question for the mayor, we'll gladly go ahead and get to that part as well. As you look ahead to budgets in 2022, usually you do have a state of the city address. It comes up around February time. Is that still the scheduled plan? And if so, what are some of the things you would like to look ahead for the next year coming up?
I usually try to have it around February 16th. I use that date. That's my only daughter, my oldest daughter's birthday, so it's easy to remember. And I think it's going to fall on a Wednesday, if I remember. I'll probably stick with that date. And I'm starting to kind of slowly put that together. I'm going to start working on that right now. So I'm going to guess that we're going to talk a little bit about what we just encountered, of course, and throughout the year and between the ending of 2020 and all of 2021, and what the city has done. You know, we've completed our projects or getting close to things of that nature. I mean, we have the largest budget, $500 million, $499 million. So just various things. I mean, there's just a lot of good things going on in the city, but there's also some work to be done. And one of the things that I need to really focus on is the homeless. You know, and I'll stop right there. So in case you want to ask me some questions about it, and then I'll break
Okay,
up
well,
the
I'll I'll
segment.
I'll bring up there has been an increase of folks. It seems like we have a lot of folks that have come in that are refugees from federal government parts are working with local hotels and areas and such. But it's also in areas where you have a lot of homeless people as well, and that's made it to be somewhat an interesting thing for police officers who have spent a lot more time trying to try to keep peace in areas. And like you mentioned, even just through a walkway path, they have found areas there to go around. That obviously has to be a concern, but what can be done with homeless folks in our town?
Yeah. So, you know, Ernesto, about, I don't know, about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, I had an opportunity to go and visit about five homeless people. Of the five, one didn't want to talk. You know, he was disturbed. Uh, Four of the four remaining four, one was just a happy-go-lucky guy. He said he was just traveling the United States. But the other three, I had a conversation with. Two of those three seemed to have problems or needed assistance with Social Security, and then one just wanted to have some type of an ID so that they could cash a check. I say this because then I want to be able to work with our NGOs, our non-government organizations such as Community of Hope, to see exactly how we can put together a task force. And I have one of my policy analysts working on that right now. He thinks he found an organization out of Orange County that does what I want to do, and that is have a task force that can go and you know, it's going to have to be one at a time, Ernesto. We can't, you know, we're going to have to be doing it, I think, in two parts. Part one, like what's going on right now, and just dealing with the situation, finding places for those who need a place to live, to sleep at night, a safe, clean place. That's currently what we have at the Community of Hope. On the other, we need to see what we can to help those who want to help themselves, to empower them to get the information they need or the services that they need, and move forward. One of them that I spoke to, homeless gentleman, was, you know, he had a situation with Social Security, and he had all his belongings there. And when you stop and think about it, there's no way. First off, there's no way he's going to leave that. Okay, it's just impossible. So my thought process is, do we have some temporary, I wouldn't say lockers, but temporary storage so they can store their things if they need to, and this task force then helps them go to where they need to go to get the information they need, and then know that their belongings are taken care of, and move on. You know, because interestingly, Ernesto, of the three that spoke with me, I can honestly say two of them, the conversation was great. I mean, you wouldn't think that they were homeless, but they are. And one of them, you know, you could tell, okay, maybe a little bit, maybe he was uh, hungry or needed something to drink. But what I'm trying to get at is, I think that this would be something that we need to focus on. It's, one, not just, yeah, I understand Robbie, and I know Robbie from way back when, and it's not like we're, we have this magic wand that we can just get it fixed. We have to know what the real problem is, because there's some that don't want to get help. Okay, and then there's some, and then one thing that I find really unacceptable is just allowing people just to live wherever they want to live. Well, we can't do that. We are a nation of laws here, and rules. And so, but on the other hand, if we can provide them another safe place, maybe they don't want to stay at Camp Hope, but if we have some other areas that are nearby that they can stay at, if we can provide them that opportunity, then they can go move over there. But and there's going to be rules, and if they don't want to have a few of the rules, then maybe they need to go someplace else.
All right. So just to put in for those listening, Robbie Tafoya addressed mental health issues and needs for homeless, and agreed with what you were saying on that. Mayor, is there a possibility that the old armory on Brown Road could be a part of this segment to help out as another additional area, as a substitute area? You've used it before for refugees. Could it be used to help out our homeless?
Ernesto, believe it or not, we've actually offered some additional buildings that we have in that vicinity, on that campus. And the word we got back from some of the homeless is they don't want to live in a building. They want to live outside. Okay, so fine. So if you've noticed, there are some structures out there that are basically three sides to it. And the reason why it's that way with a top is because it still gives them that outdoor feeling, but yet protects them from some of the elements. It doesn't get extremely cold here, but it does get cold, but it gets extremely hot here. And that at least protects from the sun bearing down on them. So, it seems like I'm able to learn more and more about it, but nonetheless, nothing compared to what a professional can bring. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm right now, I've been very fortunate, and then I've got, he's a retired NMSU professor there in psychology, and a gentleman who moved here, who did training at university there in St. Louis in mental health. And so these two gentlemen are willing to volunteer to help me with this task force. Because when you get right down to it, Ernesto, is I don't want to just keep adding more and more for the homeless. We need to help those who want to help themselves move on and get back into society. For all I know, they may want to have some of these jobs that are being offered by some of the businesses. There's a certain amount of feeling that you have when you're able to provide for yourselves and your families. And I can't help and think that doesn't apply to them as well.
Well, I was thinking if you were, okay, maybe not a place to stay, but what about a place to get assistance to help get like a driver's license, a card, or counseling services centers available? Do you think that could be a place to be doing, or do you think you have a building that you'd like to see that in?
We have tried to purchase that building. We would love to have that building. And I have to say that maybe it's time to revisit that again, because the person we had in charge, he's has since retired from the city. But I think everybody has a price, and if we can offer them enough for that building, maybe they'll sell it. But it's a nice building to have. It could be used as a training facility in the off time. It could be used as an emergency shelter for, in the event. I still remember when Hurricane Katrina happened there in the
Louisiana
and Mississippi, and they were bringing people all over from Houston, El Paso, and we didn't have anything. Even if we housed 100 people, you know what I mean? That's really what it's all about, helping people. And I would love to have that facility.
All right. Well, like you said, everything's a price, and we'll see how that plays out. Mayor, I'm going to leave a couple of things here. Big Christmas tree lighting coming up. Going to switch it up a little bit. I know we can go through more in this in the discussion. If people want to discuss the mayor will give you a chance. And please, if you want to be involved in the task force, make sure to write down the information that's coming up at the end.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll get that here. By the way, Robbie wanted to add bus tickets to get them going. Okay, Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate you putting in the segments there. And yeah, we always encourage this that you can add this comments in, but they have to be on the question form if you can. And Robbie was going on in the continuous conversation we were having. So let's talk about the Christmas tree lighting taking place Saturday in our town. Will there be at least cookies out there this time, Mayor? I know you've always fought for them. Are they going to be there this time?
I don't know. I don't want to say. I haven't checked yet. I'm checking to see what time it is. I think it's at 7. 7 o'clock. Well, I have myself to be, yeah, 7 o'clock. I don't know, Ernesto. I have no idea if there's gonna be cookies or hot chocolate.
All right.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
No problem. But obviously you get to give a message and a speech. What can residents expect to hear from you on that night?
I don't know if I wouldn't call it a speech. Probably just welcome them. It's been 2 years since we've done tree lighting. It's good to see everybody. Hopefully, they've been able to get through this okay, and just basically thank them for doing what they're doing, especially our emergency personnel, our first responders, our healthcare workers. I mean, the healthcare workers have are true heroes. I mean, to deal what they've dealt with, and, get us through this. Can't thank them enough. So that's basically it. So why don't you just record this and then I'll just replay this.
Okay, why don't you also have you thought about maybe showcasing the mayor's teens program as well and have them come out to help you light up the tree?
Hadn't thought about that, but I guess I could. I have them out. I have them out cleaning, beautifying Las Cruces, but I guess they could take a break and flip the switch.
All right. Well, there you go. I'll wait to see how this plays out, and we'll see it on Saturday around 7 o'clock. And then also, I know we're looking ahead, and I know we'll have another discussion, but it's going to be New Year's time as we look into 2022. You plan to attend this year's chili drop?
Oh, no, I probably won't be available that day.
Okay. Well, I wanted to see what your schedule is going to be.
I will be contributing to because that's done by an outside organization, the chili drop. Mm-hmm. So I usually donate for that and then watch it.
All right. Well, good. So then I can go there and I'm not going to get yelled at. All right, perfectly. So that's where I'll be, is I'll get to host that event coming up on that day. So, all right, Mayor, people want to reach you, have a discussion, want to know more about the task force, anything such. How can they reach you?
They can email me, mayor@las-cruces.org. They can tweet me, the @ Mayor Ken LC. If they want an appointment, they can always call the office, 575-541-2076.
I didn't get a chance to ask this question, but I want to ask one more, and this is something that I should have brought up earlier. The text 911 system, how is that going right now, and what are you getting on the initial response on that?
I haven't had that report. That's one of the few committees that I'm not on, Ernesto. It's called MRVDA, Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority. And usually we get reports, our city council meetings, and we haven't had our first council meeting will be next Monday. So although I won't be there, I'm heading up to watch the Aggies take revenge on the Lobos at the pit.
Okay. So Council Pro Tem will take care of the meeting.
Right. And hopefully Coach Jans will be there. And it's going to be, be nice. I'm sorry, but Coach Patino is going to feel the wrath of Coach Jans, and it's going to, So I'm ready for that game.
I'll leave you with one other question too. How is it working now in City Council? Obviously, you're the only male that's there. A little strange up there now.
Well, we haven't met yet, so it'll be interesting, but I think it'll be fine. These, the public's always been pretty good at electing good people. I don't see it'll be any different this time around. Interesting. I have to give credit to the public. They do their diligence, they do their homework. They, that's the cool thing about our system. Democracy. Get the vote, that power of voting, and who they're going to choose to represent them. And then if they don't, they get fired either 2 or 4 years later.
300A North 17th Street in Las Cruces, home of American Document Services. We thank Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima for being our guest on Let's Talk Las Cruces. And Mayor, we appreciate you having a chance to be a part of this organization. And yes, go Aggies. And Friday, he'll be wearing his crimson, folks. I've already asked him that way beforehand. Even though there was a picture of him on UTEP, that was because he went on to an online course and finished up his next part, which is still another congratulations to you, Mayor, for continuing your education.
Yeah, it's fun. I get to learn a lot of stuff, and it's important, and a lot of it is happening today. So I get to stay on the cutting edge of things. You
Well,
can never stop learning. So.
That is true. That is very true. We thank Las Cruces Mayor Ken Miyagishima for joining us. This is Let's Talk Las Cruces, a division of Mesilla Valley News. And we appreciate you watching on Facebook. And if you have any comments below, we'll go in there and thank you.